Okay, guys, welcome back to the PT Powerhouse.
Woo!
Me and Becky again, obviously. Just here
Obvi.
to chat about even more fun things.
Yes.
So,
today is maybe like, I feel like I'm always going to be like, it's my favorite topic. But for real, today is like one of my very favorite subjects.
Today shows.
Thanks. Today is all about GeneSIS. Like if you guys follow us on GeneSIS, on Powerhouse, on anything, you see us talking about GeneSIS, where we capitalize cis, and that's because we're the GeneSistas. So today is all about the team.
Yeah,
and
it's the team.
GeneSIS. So
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so passionate about it.
It's so funny that play on words just like stuck. Like that was from like a little sign made for the Fort Worth grand opening, and like people just attached to it. And I think it's because it is true. Like
it is.
We were just talking about this as part of like a meeting earlier. It was like how much part of the ethos and like the beliefs of GeneSIS is like caring about the people first, and it will always work out.
Always. If you literally are putting your people first, their well-being, and kind of matching that with the well-being of the business, like if you are doing both of those things, you will not fail.
Yeah.
It's when you start to be like, it's a business decision, like screw
it's
the
not
people,
personal.
Like like I'm gonna make a decision because it's gonna make more money for the business or whatever. I'm over here like, actually long term, you want to make more money in your business, invest in your people. Like make sure their work-life balance is on point. Like make sure they feel valued, and make sure you're paying them well. And in the short term, you may be like, oh crap, like I'm paying my people so much money, where's all my profits? But then a couple years later, you're going to be like, wow, no one is left. We're thriving. We're all living our best lives. And we just had Q1 that profited more than all of last year.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. It literally pays off.
Literally. And the money is there.
I think also when the work culture is so like, it's a business, we got to make money. It's a business, we got to make money. Which at the end of the day, we're not idiots.
It's a business.
It's a business.
We got to make money.
Like everybody knows this, but when you give that as a reasoning to your employees for all the decisions that they don't feel cared about with, like, they're not going to celebrate with you when you do have a quarter like that.
Correct.
Not in the same way. Right. Like, it feels like everyone was genuinely so excited and proud to be part of such a profitable business.
Yes.
Rather than be like, glad Becky got such a big payday, which is the vibe at most businesses. I feel like.
Well, and we hear that from some of our employees who have come from other businesses and have voiced to us like the difference of just being like, my old boss, like I struggled to make ends meet as a licensed medical professional. I was paid like the minimum accepted, or maybe even like the standard pay or whatever. And my boss was out here, the business owner, like, which is in her right technically because it's her business. But she's out here, you know, very obviously like living this lavish lifestyle. And this employee that we now have was just kind of like, what about us? Like I haven't gotten a raise and I've been here for like how long, and just didn't feel valued. It just comes down to like not feeling valued while you see the person that's supposed to be taking care of you and the business like out there just like being seemingly frivolous, which again, she owns the business. It's her money. She can. Yeah. But long term, what's that going to do? Like that employee left and came to GeneSIS.
Yeah. And brought all of her skills and knowledge and experience and passions. Yeah. And work ethic and teamwork. And like, it's also just like lately we have been hiring a few people and training them, and training people is so important and so necessary, and it's a lot of time, which translates to money, and emotional labor, which also translates to money.
Yes.
And it's worth it. And I would never want to be part of a leadership team where people are leaving all the time.
That would be impossible.
Yeah.
I would leave. Like, I would leave.
I
quit GeneSIS. All my leaders are leaving. I can't do it by myself. Like, no.
Like, yeah. And so it's funny to me because just talking to other healthcare workers, especially, there is this kind of mentality, which is so sad if you think about it, in this field of like, they don't care about you and you can just go get another job. The best way to get a raise is to leave in most areas of healthcare. Is to start somewhere completely new.
Wow.
But not at GeneSIS.
Right.
And that's why that's part of why people don't leave.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, and it's funny, like, I get asked in coaching a lot, like, well, when do you get raises? Blah, blah, blah. And my true answer is, like, it's not based on necessarily, like, oh, you're 1 year. Like, I've given people raises, like, 6 months in or whatever. Like, I'm just making up a number. Like, before their 1 year, because they came in balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Like, and they were like,
hard.
I am for GeneSIS. Like, give me tasks. Like, I'm going to go find tasks to do. Like, I'm going to go market, like, all these things. And I'm like, you're getting a raise. Like, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think I get why it's so, like, the scarcity mentality is like, if you pay people too much, they're going to take advantage of you and then they're going to leave. And I think also, like, who you hire and what they want is a big deal. Yeah. But I also think, like, I don't know, we kind of talked about that last episode, but like, what makes you feel like these people are worth investing in, I guess? It's a tough question.
It's a loaded question. Like, I know the answers to it, but I think if we kind of want to answer it big picture first, it's like, we are only bringing people into this team, people who believe in the mission of GeneSIS and share our values. Like, these are people who fit in, not because of personality types, but because, like, they value work-life balance. They value a workplace that's going to value them as a mother or becoming a mother, that's going to support them through that. They value a business that is going to do community outreach. We want to get out in the community and, like, educate and have fun with them. And, like, yes, that's marketing, but it's also, like, just valuable info to the people who might not be able to afford an appointment with us. But, like, we're going to go and teach you at least how to breathe. Yeah. That might solve your problems. Yeah. So, like, values in that sense of, like, we serve the community. We are, this sounds weird, but, like, we only hire smart people. We're very smart. And I think, like, most PT, like, you would say, okay, PTs are smart. Like, we have doctorates. But there's a difference of, like, being able to make it through a doctoral program, which I did not make all A's.
Me neither.
Okay, good.
Honestly, I would argue getting all A's in PT school is not smart. Right. Then you're skipping on other opportunities.
That's the whole thing, yes. But I guess to my point, I'm like, there's a difference of, like, a smart person who, like, is making all the grades and, like, achieving all the things on paper versus, like, a smart person who knows how to interact with human beings, who knows emotional intelligence, a smart person who has great ideas. Like, that's a smart idea to go do that event. Yes, I love that. Like, smart people who want to continue learning clinically and who know, like, if you're at GeneSIS, you're not just in here, like, the basics of pelvic floor. Like, we're not just in here being like, relax your pelvic floor or contract your pelvic floor. Like, it's they're smart. Like, they know how to get out of the pelvis. They want to learn these things. They take initiative to take courses. Like, so we have smart people. We have people who are fun. Like, that's a value at GeneSIS. Like, you will not come here and work here if you're not fun. And that truly is, it started off selfishly for me. Because I was like, I'm not trying to, like, bring
these are the people we spend most of our time with.
Yes. And, like, people, because I set that up from the start of, like, bringing fun people in, they expect fun people to continue doing. So it's like, if we bring in people who don't necessarily value fun events, going on boat days, you know, having, like, this extravagant fun Christmas party, like, if they don't value those things, they aren't going to quite mesh with the people who are already here. That's going to affect our long-term work culture. And so it's like, to make a long story short, we find people who share the GeneSIS values, the vibe. Values are your vibe.
Yeah.
They share your vibe and they believe in your mission. That's truly what it comes down to. They have it, they have the vibe, they share the values, and they believe in what we're doing, which is changing the game of how we treat pelvic floors. And it's also turned into changing the game of what cash pay pelvic PT clinics can look like. That's a long answer.
I agree. No, I think that's a good answer. I think something that's been interesting is like now, because like whenever someone's interested in working in GeneSIS now, they email me. So I've seen a lot of like after the growth, like when people, which like, this is like the behind the scenes if you want to work at GeneSIS, when people
if you're thinking about applying, listen to this.
Because I read every email, I respond to every email, but there are distinctive things that I'm looking for before I even escalate them like to you. And one of the things now is that like they can tell me why they want to work at GeneSIS.
Right.
Not like why they wanted to be a pelvic PT or like, which obviously like if you're not passionate about working at GeneSIS, that's fine. Yeah. We think you're great. We hope you find the best job available to you. Yeah. But it's not here.
It's not here. No.
Because we want someone passionate about this job here with us.
And we've gotten both types of emails multiple times. We've gotten the emails that are like, hey, you know, I want to go into public health. I did some research. You guys came up on Google. Like, are you hiring? And we're just kind of like no.
Well, yeah, they're just like, are you hiring?
Yeah.
Or like,
yeah. And then we get the emails, which one of our employees, I'm like, do I say the people's names? I don't know. But anyway, one of our employees, we actually corresponded for over a year via email. She lived out of state. She had emailed a year before she started here and was like, I follow you guys. You guys look like the dream. Yeah. Like, I live out of state, but my husband and I, like, we'd be willing to relocate. And like, I've always wanted to start my own thing. But as soon as I saw GeneSIS, I was like, that's what I would start anyway. So why not just go be a part of that? I love this, and this about y'all. Blah, 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 blah. And like, I was like, in that moment, like, we're not hiring right now, but she kept in contact. Like, I never forgot about her because she, A, made an impression, B, didn't let me forget about her because she wanted to be here at GeneSIS. And then a year later, move across the country to work here. And she's still here, of course, thriving. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. Like, if you want to work here, like, you don't like, I'm not saying you have to pick up your family and move across country, but you have to want to work at GeneSIS, not just in pelvic health.
Yeah. Which supports the culture. Yes. Which is what appeals to people who want that culture. Yes. Who then support the culture. Yes. And like so on and so forth. So I get my question when I brought that up was like, before it was already what it is now, how do you feel like you could tell that earlier on?
Could tell what?
Like if they were going to be part of the culture.
Oh.
Because I feel like this was from day one, unintentionally.
Yeah. The hard answer is my gut.
Yeah, I know.
That's the hard answer that everyone hates because it's true.
But I think that's valid. Like, I think a lot of people who are, especially if they're new entrepreneurs, they're scared to trust their gut. But I think a lot of times that's the only way.
Yeah. Like, you're an entrepreneur because you have a gut and you followed it to start something and you're hiring someone because you're picking up steam, something's working. So like clearly your initial gut to like, oh, I'm going to start this pelvic health business and I'm going to do it in this way, in this location, marketing to these people. Like all of those are gut things. Like you pick and choose what you do, how you start a business, how you grow it, how you market based on what you think is going to be best. Like that's your gut. And so then it's like, if you're to the point where you're hiring, that means your gut was correct on these things because obviously they're seeing success, all the things. So it's like, if you have this feeling in you where you're even like a little bit like, man, I really need someone like she knows pelvic health, like she has experience, she was nice, but there's just, I don't know, like it's a no for me. Like if I'm not like, how can we create a position for this person? Yeah. Like
we do
over
and over again.
Multiple times. Like we have been
clinics.
not hiring.
Yeah.
We have been not hiring, and we're like, we need this person. Let's open a clinic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're like, God forbid we lose them forever. They
Literally.
go start somewhere else, and we never get to have them at GeneSIS.
Yeah. So it's like we hire. I mean, I say this is kind of like a cliche, but like we hire the person, not the therapist. So like you're hiring this person. They just happen to be a PT or an OT. And so the person that you're hiring needs to check your boxes more so than the therapist you're hiring needs to check your boxes.
Yeah.
Because you can teach them skills.
Yeah.
You cannot teach them like to be a better person or to like fit in with the team better or like, yeah.
Well, and frankly, like supporting the skills that people want to learn is for therapists, especially like wanting to learn something new and get into something new. I get what, because at this point I've trained people with experience and without experience. And without experience is harder. And both of those groups of people are thriving. Their patients love them. They're still here. They're valuable parts of the team. Like I wouldn't personally let that be a determining factor at all.
No.
And so
literally no. You were a new grad when you came.
I know.
I was like, it's fine. It's fine because you have it.
Yeah. And I learned so much so quickly because I was so determined.
And I knew that. Like I could tell it about you. You had told me a lot, like obviously in the interview process about what you had done in the past, like be a go-getter and go learn things and learn new skills and like get clients and all the things. And so I was not at all concerned that like, oh, is she gonna try hard to like learn? Like she's never taken a pelvic health course or whatever. Like, is she gonna?
Yeah, I literally hadn't taken pelvic core when
she's like,
hired me.
Yeah, like
and it was fine.
Literally, it was fine.
Yeah,
you had eval. Like she took pelvic floor 1 before she started seeing patients. But
yeah, obviously, but not before I interviewed.
No. So yeah. Hire the person, not the therapist. You have to like the person. You have to want to spend your life with the person. Yeah.
Well, and having hard conversations and making tough decisions. Because we're just talking about with like some of our employees, like everyone is so different and their personal lives matter. And so feeling comfortable being like, hey, like stuff is up at work and I can tell, are you comfortable talking to me about like how we can figure this out together?
Totally.
Instead of just being like, we need to step it up or I'm going to hire someone else.
Can you imagine us being like, you're slacking, bitch?
No, not at all.
What? Like people do that though.
I know. I think it's funny because like there are days where like people are frustrated and the phone is like constantly buzzing and there's problems here and there's problems there and there's problems everywhere, and I'm like, I can understand why so many bosses are so cranky.
Oh my gosh.
Like why there's so many like horrible boss cliches. And at the same time, I can't imagine ever taking that out on the actual human beings that like work for us.
No.
And it's not like I would take it out on someone I didn't like.
Right.
Just like as a moral kind, human being that I am. But I also feel like it is easier because I genuinely like and care about them. And I feel like they genuinely like and care about me too.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of the culture as well. Is like 100%. They know we're human beings. When we get overwhelmed, we don't like dump it on them.
Right.
But they like know.
Yeah.
And they usually offer support.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I feel like that makes a huge difference too in like our mental health.
Yes.
So.
We're all in this
literally
together.
All in it together. Like with the patients and the courses.
Yeah.
Well, even like behind the scenes, we tell everybody this, but like when you see one GeneSIS therapist, you really see them all because we're always talking about our patients and how to help them better as like a group. Which especially if you're new is so helpful.
It is so helpful. It's like having your own clinical group mastermind.
Literally.
For free. You get paid.
Yeah.
You get paid to be in it.
You get paid.
Learn it. That's so funny.
And just learn.
I've thought about though, like our therapist chat that we have on our Slack channel, that is like popping off multiple days a week. Yeah.
There's
Literally
every day.
There's something about,
Well, and
whatever.
people will go. I mean, I was in one with all the male treating therapists today about just a male
Y'all
patient.
have a male treating therapist
Which
chat?
Sometimes when it's only male stuff and we don't want to bother you with penis things.
Look at you guys caring for us penis phobic talk.
But like,
it's the culture, see?
Yeah. No, but it literally is every day. And more, I don't feel like you or I have to answer all the questions.
Oh, yes.
Because they answer each other's questions and they're so smart. Like, they're smarter than us. So
literally smarter than us. Like, oh, yes. I love it. So I feel like we talked a lot about like what sets us apart culture-wise and like what makes us GeneSIS happens to be through how we hire people and then how we treat them when they're here. So I think let's talk about kind of various roles because we get asked that a lot of like, well, how do you do it all? And I'm like, I literally don't.
Yeah.
You know, and then people ask me a lot in coaching, you know, how do I create a director or a lead PT or like, what does a director do? So I think people would like to hear kind of like, what are the roles that we have at play here? We have like 500 different admin support roles, like different levels in like the therapist realm here. So yeah, we can talk about roles.
Hello, PT Powerhouse listeners. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us this far. We decided to split this episode into 2 parts because we could obviously talk about it forever. So please come back and listen to part 2 of this episode where we're going to really get into the nitty-gritty of the staff roles that have kind of been produced in result to the culture that has been created. So thank you again so much for your time. You can find in the show notes all the details about GeneSIS and kind of what we have going on right now, me and Dr. Becky and all that good stuff. And we're excited to see you next time.